Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Veronica Gets Fit. This is a how-to video. I'm going to show you guys how to make keto bread. I personally love keto bread. It keeps me away from eating regular bread and I feel it's just as good. I like it. It is very high in fat, which is what you need for the keto diet. So just to go over a couple things, you'll need a mixing bowl, obviously, a blender or beaters, excuse me. You'll need beaters. Then you'll need eggs, and when I mean eggs, I mean 7 eggs. So just make sure that you have enough for the bread itself. You'll need almond flour, obviously, baking powder, butter. I personally don't like to use a lot of salt, but when I do, I use a Himalayan pink salt. You can get it at Costco or just anywhere. I think they sell it at Ralph's if you live in Los Angeles. Coconut oil is a big thing because we're not using olive oil or anything like that. I'm sure if you had olive oil and not coconut oil, I'm sure it'll be okay. But this is what the recipe requires. And because I like to mix things up, I like my bread to have a little bit of extra flavoring, so I'm using garlic powder. And I'm also going to make it a chia bread, so it'll have a little bit more protein. And the hidden ingredient, the recipe here says that you can, it's a xanthan gum. I personally don't have that and I'm not going to use that, but I do have a beef gelatin, so that helps it rise. If you don't have that, I'm sure it's not a big deal because it only requires 1 teaspoon. But if you do want to know, you can get it at a health food store, and I'm not sure if GNC sells it. I'm pretty sure the Vitamin Shop sells it, or you can look online and get it. I got it at a mom and pop's health food store. And you'll also need a pan. I'm going to use this pan today, and parchment paper. Okay everyone, so now that we have all of our ingredients and we're ready to go, now we can actually start mixing those ingredients together. So the first step is we're going to beat the 7 eggs into the bowl first, kind of like making scrambled eggs. So we're going to start with that. I am using cage-free eggs, but you can use any egg, and I mean, you don't have to use cage-free eggs. It's just what I have right now, what I like. So we're going to do 7 of those. Okay, so you're going to want to beat them for about 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so now that our eggs are beaten to a pulp, we're going to take a ½ cup of melted butter. So what I did was I took a separate little bowl and then I melted the butter in here. You could do it, I want to say for a ½ cup it's about 50 seconds to get it completely melted. So we're going to add that, as well as add our coconut oil, and that's going to be 2 teaspoons. And you can pick and choose because you can decide if it's going to be too thick and you're like unsure. You can melt the coconut oil. I'd say if you're going to melt the 2 tablespoons, it's going to be about 30 to 40 seconds. So, okay, so we've got that. So we're going to blend those together. So now that that's blended, we can actually add the rest of our ingredients. We're going to take 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a ½ teaspoon of the beef gelatin, 2 cups of almond flour. I'm basically going to use the whole thing, pretty much. Oh, but before we do the almond flour, let's add our spices. I like to consider them our spices or whatever extra we want to add to the bread before we add the almond flour, because what we're going to do with the almond flour is we're going to blend it piece by piece. So I'll show you how to do that. I use a pink Himalayan salt, like I had mentioned before. So we're just gonna do a little dab of that. Then we're going to take a little bit of garlic, because I like mine to have a little bit of garlic flavoring to it. Plus, garlic is really good for you. So I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of that in there. So now that we've added our garlic and our salt, we're gonna blend that along with the gelatin and the baking powder. Blend that for a little bit, just so we can have a little consistency. Okay, so now we're gonna start taking our almond flour, and we're going to do a little bit by a little bit. I would say like probably a cup at a time. Just to give it a smoothness so it's not so chunky. Now that we've blended everything together, it should look more like this. As I told you before, I like a seedy bread. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add chia seeds to mine. You don't have to if you don't want to. I like doing it. So I'm gonna kind of mix this all together, make sure that I get every ounce of the almond flour in. Kind of like that. Okay, and then I'm going to add probably about, I would say probably gonna add about, I would say we'll do 2 tablespoons, just so they can be fully blended together and everything's like, has enough chia seeds in there. Mix that. It actually already smells good, even though it's like not bread yet. Okay, so there we go. So it looks like that. I don't know if you could see it. It looks like that. Okay, now that we have blended everything together, we mixed everything, now it's time to put it in the pan. Okay, so now that we have our dough ready, we will need a pan to cook it in. So what I'm going to use today is an aluminum foil pan, but you can use any pan. Normally I'll do a 9-inch pan, typically a square shape, but for you guys today, to make it look like an actual loaf of bread, I'm using this rectangular pan. You can also get this at the dollar store, just FYI. What you'll also need is parchment paper. I use it because it's easier to take the bread out. If you don't want to use it or you don't have it, you don't necessarily need it. It's just something that the recipe requires. So we're going to take our parchment paper. Okay, there we go. So we're just going to kind of lay it flat like this. And then we're going to take our dough, we're just going to kind of maneuver it inside. And you want to just be careful with the parchment paper so that it doesn't run all over the place. Just kind of to fit it in there. Make sure we get all the dough, as much as we can, on here. And then we're just going to, because the parchment paper kind of laid weird, we're just going to kind of maneuver the bread around to where it typically is in the middle of the parchment paper. Okay. Just going to make sure we get it all in. I want every ounce of the bread. So I'm gonna make sure that I take it like this. And I did wash my hands, everyone, just so you're not thinking gross. But okay, so now that we have that done, it's gonna look like that. Now that we got our bread ready in the pan, let's make it. You're gonna put it in the oven for about 45 minutes, so I'll see you in 45. I'm a very fast reader. All right, everyone. Now that the 45 minutes is up, and as you can see, I changed clothes, did my hair, read a book. It's a lot of things you can do in 45 minutes. But now we shall see what our bread looks like. Oh yeah. Yeah, this bread looks so good. I mean, I'm very impressed. So after that, you can just cut it. I believe it makes 8 slices. I haven't done it in this pan, but typically it's about 8 slices. And I usually put like cream cheese, peanut butter. Since it has the garlic, I'll probably just do cream cheese. But guys, you can do any kind of seasoning, whatever you want to do on this bread. It's amazing. So thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to watch this video. I do videos like this and other videos that have to do with fitness every Monday at 1 o'clock. You can check it out. Share, like, subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.